Welcome back to another Rose City Reptiles video. I'm Joey. This is Rose City Reptiles, and in today's video, we are going to discuss how to deal with stuck shed. Good chance if you just stumbled upon this video, you have a Tegu with some stuck shed. Don't worry, take a deep breath. We're gonna fix it really easily, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. One of the most common problems people have with their Tegus is shedding issues. I see it constantly online, Reddit, Facebook, everywhere, and people are always asking me, Joey, how can we help our Tegu shed? It's an emergency, it's stuck, help us, the tail won't shed, what's going on? And the solution is actually very simple. I have two tips for you, and I'm going to show you what we do here at Rose City Reptiles to solve all of these shedding issues. Every once in a while, we have a Tegu that needs a little bit of assistance shedding. Having as many Tegus as I have tried lots of different things over the years, from soaking to coconut oil to spraying the enclosure every single day or even more. And although some of these things may work, I have found two things that work far superior to all of those other things. We have a few Tegus that haven't started shedding yet. After we set up their new humid hides in their enclosures, we'll come back in a few days and we will check on their progress. So the first thing that I'm going to recommend and show you how I use it is this orchard moss. This can be purchased in the description below. I'm going to have a link for everything that I'm going to show you in today's video. Let me go ahead and show you how we set this up. So I'm just going to open it up here and we are going to dump it out into this bin. I'm going to use the whole block. It is compressed in there. There's usually quite a bit more than what it looks like once you get it out. This stuff is amazing at retaining moisture. I now have a pitcher of hot water. This is about 90 degrees, and I'm going to pour it into the sphagnum moss. Then I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to work that water directly into the moss. That way the moss can really just soak it up and retain as much moisture as possible. Then here I have some examples of some of the hides that I like to use. Again, all of these can be found in the description of the video, but we have small, medium, and large. All of them will work depending on the size of your Tegu and the size of your setup. For this video, I'm going to go ahead and use the large. It's the most common size that I use here. And so what I like about these hides is that there's one small entrance and the rest of it is completely enclosed. What that does is it traps moisture. So you'll get a lot of condensation. It'll build up right here and drip down back into your sphagnum moss. So we've got our sphagnum moss completely saturated, and now I'm going to show you how I decide how much sphagnum moss to use. So I'm going to take my hide and I'm going to just lay it on its back, flip it upside down, and then we're going to take our sphagnum moss and I'm going to squeeze it out. Get all the excess water out. This stuff is still very damp, but it's not wet, okay? It's not dripping with water. So I'm going to squeeze a lot of that excess water out, and then we're going to add it into the hide. Squeeze it out, rinse and repeat. Until we get the hide just about filled up, just like that. Once you have the correct amount of sphagnum moss, like you can see here, I like to really fill it up. Then you're just going to take this to your enclosure and you're going to flip it, and the Tegus will start to go inside, and they have a perfect Tegu sauna all the time while they're sleeping inside of their hide. And part of the reason why these hides work so well is because of the importance of having microclimates in your enclosure. In order for your Tegu to shed properly, it needs areas where it can dry out and areas where it's moist. Whenever we go in and we just spray down the enclosure, yes, that raises the humidity, but it also may be counterproductive because that animal also needs to dry out when it's going through its shedding. So what this allows us to do is the animal can come out, it can bask, dry out, and then whenever it goes in here and it's in that 100% humidity, it really helps that shed start to pop off. All right, now for tip number 2, and I'm showing you them in this order for a reason. It's important that you dial in the husbandry side of things, such as getting Humid Hide set up before we go into the supplements. But I am going to show you, I have had success with some Tegus that had really stuck sheds by using vitamin B complex. This thing has worked miracles. I grind it up into a powder and I put it right on their food. If you want more information on that, I've already made a video about it. I'm going to have a link in the description, not only for the vitamin B, but also for that video, and you guys can watch it once you're done with this one. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add all of this amazing sphagnum moss into the Tegus enclosures that we're having some shedding issues, and I will come back in a few days and we'll see if they've made any progress. So it's now been 48 hours and I'm going to show you the progress that we've made with these Tegus, and it is mind-blowing. But for you in your individual case, this process of going from stuck shed to when that shed's really coming off can take anywhere from 24 hours to a week, or maybe even a little bit longer. So don't get too worried if you don't get results immediately, but I'm going to show you where we're at after 48 hours. So all of these Tegus are at different stages in their shedding process. I'm going to show you all 3 of them, and we're going to start with this one right here. So you can see it actually, you can see how thick that shed was, but after 48 hours of being in that Humid Hide, you can just see the progress we've made. Look at this. It is, I normally don't, you don't have to assist them. This one would have been able to get all of this off, but I just want to show you guys just how loose that shed is and how ready it is to come off after 48 hours with that Humid Hide provided in the enclosure. Check this out, just coming right off of him. Wow, look at that. That looks like a whole different Tegu. It still has some to come off of its head, which we may just let it do that on its own or not. Let's see if it's, yeah, it's loose. It's so ready. As you can see with this one, that Humid Hide is, it worked really well, and it looks like a completely different animal. Okay, so this is the shed, the aftermath coming off of that Tegu. Now the next one is wearing a cape. This one we'll just kind of let it do it on its own, but you can see how it just, it's coming off. On its body, you know, it was really stuck on there a couple days ago, and now that shed is just coming off all on its own. Amazing. And for the last one, this one's progressed the most on its own, but just looks like a completely different animal than what it did 2 days ago. So as you can see, all 3 Tegus are coming along really nicely. I'm really happy to see them improve in such a short amount of time. I wanted to share that with you guys and get this information out there, so maybe it'll help you if you're having shedding problems with your Tegu. After pulling these guys out, after 48 hours, the sphagnum moss was still damp and didn't need any spraying. And so it's a really low maintenance, easy thing to do to provide that micro habitat that your Tegus need. Thank you guys for watching another Rose City Reptiles video. Hope this video was helpful. If you try out any of these tips, drop it down in the comments. Let me know if it worked for you, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.